Hello guys, welcome to the Python series. In today's video, we're going to do a very interesting exercise where we're going to create a tic-tac-toe game to create a fully interactive game using the Python program. So in order to start off for this project, we are going to code along with a few exercises in order for you to understand how the steps can be implemented to get the final tic-tac-toe game, or we're going to implement those stuff we have learned before in the following videos. So before we start off, these steps should be taken into consideration. First, grab user input. Second, manipulate a variable based on input. And third, return back adjusted variable based on the input or the information acquired from the user. So most programs that are interactive work on this very simple idea. First, display something visual to the user so that it looks more appealing or more entertaining to the user to go along the process. So second, let the user update through an interaction. So we're going to have a little communication between the user so that the information processed or the game could be much entertaining. So third, update variables in the program. So based on the information acquired from the user, we're going to update those variables in order to retrieve the final updated visual and display it. So let's start with the logic which we require, the initial steps we need to solve tic-tac-toe game. So let us say I have a list 2 comma 3 and say I'm gonna print it again and again 3 times. So instead of I'm printing print statement 3 times. So instead of calling this 3 times, what can I do is let me create a function so that the first step we have to do is display something visual to the user. So in order to do that, so let us create a function display. So let us take this row 1, row 2 and row 3. So row 1, row 2 and row 3. So these are the parameters I'm passing through and let us print each of them. So right. So now let us name an example row so that that will be holding the value 1 comma 2 comma 3 and let us say display, then you're gonna try to pass this as a parameter 3 times. Yeah. Oh, sorry. So here I have to mention row 2 and row 3. Yeah. Now, yeah, then pass this, then pass this. So here you can see that instead of calling this in such a way, I can do this in a simpler way just by naming a function display and mentioning row 1, row 2, row 3. So I'm gonna hold row 1 with let us say yeah, so colon, and row 2 with similar set like, and row 3. Yeah. So now let us So let us display row 1, row 2, and row 3. So here you can see it's going to display in such a form, and I'll just replace one of the I- I'll just replace one of these terms into, let us say, row 2, and the first index I'm gonna name it as, let us say, x. So after doing this, and let us now display row 1 comma row 2 comma row 3. So here you can see that in the place of this there's an x which has been displayed. So we can also, for row 1 and 0, let us say x, and row 3 2, and let us say this is also x. So now when we display row 1 comma row 2 comma row 3, so here you can see that there's x's in this and this. So we can use this for allocation of the positions, like x in one position and o's in one more. You can also use o. Suppose there's an o over here, and we try to display that. So here you can see there's an over in this place. So now we can, using this input function, we are going to, for better understanding of this allocation of x and o's. So now we'll use an input function. Let us say our input function is the position index, and we are going to ask the user to input his which position he wants. So yeah, so I'll say I want my position to be 2. So now when I check the type of my position, so it's showing it's a string here. So how do I convert this? So by using this input, it's going to convert that string into whichever data type I want it to be. So here, by taking the input function, I'm converting this string function into an integer here. So I'm inputting an integer. So it's going to take this and it's going to convert it into int data type. So to interact with the user, we need to convert it into the other data type. To retrieve the output, we are going to take an result saying that enter a number. We're gonna ask the user to enter a number. So let us say we take it as 3. So here you can see that by doing this, it although this is a string, input function helps us in converting into a integer type. So in order to uh, give a choice to the user regarding which he has to choose, let us create another function saying user choice, and so this choice we are going to ask the user to enter a number, any number between So we're asking user to enter any number between 0 to 10, and we're gonna return the choice which is there in the form of integer. So when we call the function, so you can see the type is main. When we call the function and ask it to enter a number, we are going to enter number 9, and it's going to retrieve back that integer. So this int allows us to convert into that data type. Now we'll allow the user to check whether his choice is correct or wrong. So I'll say choice and give it with the wrong, and I'm going to include a while statement. Choice is digit. This will check whether the value is true or false. So I'm gonna say choice, and after this I'm gonna include an if statement. So if choice that is digit will be equal to false, then we're gonna print saying that sorry, that is not a valid digit. Please try again. So this will be our message. So yeah, so let's print this. So let us say I'll enter 9 instead of 9. So I get this message saying that say. So let me try it out again. So I say 9. So here it shows that what I've entered is wrong. So I have to try it again. Now suppose I create a result saying that result is wrong value, and so acceptable values would be from 0, 1, and sorry 2. So we're going to check whether the result is in that acceptable values by using the in. So here it will show that it is false. So let us apply this in the function saying that choice is wrong, and let us give our acceptable range to be 0 comma 1 comma 2, and you're gonna assign another variable saying that. So this will be the same. So if it is false, it's going to print this. So now let's check out this. Okay, yeah, let's try it out. So now let us enter a number 9. Sorry, that's an invalid entry. Please try again. So now let us try it out with 9. So it has entered 9. So now we can see that we have done with the within range equal to false, and we're going to check. So this we are using if statement. This for checking whether the digit is within the range or not. So this is for the digit seg. So we have to check whether the number is within the range or not. So now we're gonna go for so range check. So here we're gonna write an if statement saying that choice in digit equal to true. So we have to make sure that it's within the range. So I'm mentioning true over here. So if int choice, so if int choice is, so if is in the acceptable range, so we can say that the within range will be true, or else within range will be false. So it will not be within the range. So we'll give it as false, and we're going to print a statement saying that sorry, the number you have entered is out of range. Yeah. So we're going to give this as the input, and so now let us run this. Okay. Yeah. So when we run this, okay. Oh, yeah. Now when so now we're going to run this code, and let us call our function user choice. So now let us run any this thing. It's gonna show that it's 2 and it's not a valid digit, or please try again, sorry the number you have entered is out of range. So now let us write tie the correct number, and you can see it's taking all these outputs. So if you type in 2, it will check that yeah, it is in acceptable range, and it will print out that. So now let us name a function for displaying the game list. So a game list will be within 0 comma 1 comma 2. So we are going to define a function saying that display game, and the parameter we're going to pass through this is the game list, and we're going to print here is the current list. Yeah, and then we're going to print the game list. So when we display game list, so here you can see that it says that here is a current list 0 1 and 2. So now we have to create a function which is used to determine the positional choice. So we are going to create a function to determine the position choice. So say position choice, and so initially we're gonna give it as wrong, and while choice is not in, so it should not be in the particular set of, and we're gonna print first we're going to give a choice and to the user and saying input pick a position. So that position is going to be in 0 1 2 0 1 and 2. So we're going to create an if statement if choice is not in, so we'll print invalid choice, please try again. And when we do that, and when we return int choice, yeah, so now let's try to print. Yeah, now let us call a function position choice, So let us pick a position. Let us say 4. So it will say that sorry, invalid choice, please try again. So now let us say 1, 2. So it's going to pick the number 2. Replacement choice for replacement position choice for the user for better gameplay experience. So let us define a function replacement choice, and we have to know the game list as well as the position choice, the previous first position choice, the first option which he has opted, the user has opted. And next we're gonna take in an input saying that type a string to place at position, and we're gonna assign a variable which will be holding this input. Game list position will be holding the input of the particular placement. And we're gonna retrieve back game list. So when we call in replacement choice game list, and here we're going to enter a position to be 1 instead of 2. So game list is not defined. So here's the mistake here. So now let us say so I'm going to place a string instead of 1 in the place of position. So in order to keep on playing, we should also add a game on choice. Let's define game on choice. So game on choice, and take the initial considerations, and so choice will be wrong. So while this choice is not in, so you're allowing the user whether to choose whether the choice is yes or no. And we're gonna input saying that pick a position 0, 1, 2, and every statement saying that if the choice is not in the particular set of which is 0, 1, 2, we're going to print a statement saying that sorry, the choice which you have chosen is invalid. the choice yeah. And next we're gonna return choice. Okay, and indentation. So yeah, so now let's call game on choice. So let us pick a position. So let us say we pick a position 1 and we'll say why. It'll show that the game chosen is invalid. So let's try again. So let me choose 1, let me choose 2, let me choose 0, and let me choose 4. So it'll show that the choice you have chosen is invalid. So we are asking the user whether he wants to keep playing or not. So the choice is input keep playing or not. So we input Y, yes or no. So instead of this, let's keep it as this. And if choice is not N, Y and N. So let's erase this part. It's gonna print a message saying that sorry, I don't understand. Please choose either Y or N. So we'll enter this and give a choice. If choice is equal to Y, so equal to Y, we'll return true. Else return false. Yeah. So we're gonna run this. Input yeah. So yeah, we're gonna run this and check. So keep playing or not. We'll say N. Yeah. So now let's run this and check. So here you can see when we print 9N, it's saying it's false. So now let us keep in the continuity of the game. Let us create the display position of the particular game. So the while game is on, display the game, which is nothing but the game list. Yes, and position of the thing will be position choice. Position choice. So now what you're going to do is we are going to take in the game list and we use that as the replacement choice. so that we can have another option if we are not liking the present choice which we have already. So that will contain the game list and also the previous position which we have entered. So the game list and the previous position. The next we're going to display the game. So game on will be equal to game on choice. So yeah, we're gonna print. So we're gonna pick a position. Say I'll print an invalid position. Say 2. So it'll say that it's an invalid entry. So let me try again. So I'll pick a position 2 and the string at position is 0. So keep playing yes. So I'll pick 2 now. No, I'll pick 1. So I'll say run. So at 1 I'll say run and keep playing. No. So yeah, it is stopped running now. So here is the updated game list you would be finding after you've created this. So here you can see that when I first it asked me here's the current list and it showed the list 0, 1, 2, and then it asked me to pick a position from 0, 1 and 2. So I picked up the position 2. So then it asked type a string to place that position. So I just placed 0 as a string and placed it in that position, and it asked me whether I wanted to keep playing or not. Then I pressed Y, so yes. So again it went back to the current list, updated the current list again and gave me back the present current list which has got updated. This is 0, 1 comma string 0. So it asked me to pick a position. So I picked up the position 1. So then it asked me to type a string to place that position. So then I just typed a string called run. So then it showed me the present current list which has been updated, which is 0, run and 0. So it asked me to whether I wanted to keep playing or not. So then I typed in n. So that means I didn't want to play again. So it stopped the loop there itself. We are going to make a small creative program in order to start with you the tic tac toe game. So first we'll start it step by step so that you can clearly understand how to create a tic tac toe game in an easier way. So yeah, let's start with it. So first step, we have to write a function that can print out a board like with all the like 1, 2, 3, 4 until the number 9. So like a number pad, we have to create a board which where we can input our x and o in that board like a 3 by 3 matrix representation. So let's start with. So first let's start with lasso with image board plus 7 and we're going to add a dash. So we'll just copy this line. So we're just going to copy only this line and let's just print it out 3 times, and we'll just change it this to 4 and this 5, this is 6, and let this be 1, 2, and 3. So in between these, we are gonna print, let's say, the dashes. So print the dashes. So it's only required between these four, and the last line we just do not have it. So let's just and now we're gonna create a list which contains all the elements of a board. So respectively, like for the ash, it's in the ash format, and we have the X and O's. Yeah, we're done with the board. Now what you have to do is we're gonna display the board, and let's just type in display board, and it will show you all the elements of the board. So here you can see that this is the element. So let's just delete these. So these are not required in case. They're not required. So, yeah. So let's run this, and let's run this, and let's run it again, and let's reduce these also. Reduce it by 2. That's fine, I guess. And let's run it again. Okay, let's remove one more so that, yeah, let's remove one more. And let's check it again. Yeah, it looks fine now. So the next step is we have to write a function which can take the player input. Like in the sense, when a person is choosing, there should be a marker which chooses whether you want to represent X or you want to represent O. So we have to make a function which will be assigned with the marker which will be assigned to the particular X, respective X or respective O. So let's just define a function known as player input, and so marker can either choose X or can either choose Y. Inputting a function, I would say, so we are going to give the user to input whichever he wants, whether he wants to choose X or O, and let's just give him the option, and let's take in upper. So this dot upper is used whether by mistake if the user enters a small letter X or small letter O, so that would be a mistake. So here we are using upper, so automatically it validates into uppercase letters, so it would be easier. And now we're going to use an if statement. So if the marker by chance chooses X, so we're going to return sorry yeah. So we're going to return saying that it's going to print X comma O, and if else it will return the other way, which is O So this would be the so now we're gonna just say player input and run this, and now the user can enter whichever, if he wants to choose X, he will be free to choose X, or if he wants to choose O, he's also free to choose O. So yeah, in case you enter a small letter, it will automatically be taken as O, because we are used the upper method over here. So now we'll write a function that takes in the board list. So and object and mark takes a marker X and O. So it can take from the desired positions, which are indexed from 1 to 9 according to the number pad. So according to that, we are going to place the marker in such a position. So let's define a function for place marker. So let's run this, and we'll just place the marker to be board, comma, and we're going to take it as O, the marker to be O, and the position to be 3. So when we display the board, so here it will show that here you can see that position 3 it has changed to O. So here it was X, so here you can see that it's changed to O. That's what we do with this thing. And now we are going to write a function that takes in a board and check if that marker has 1 or not. So if it's aligned, so X, X, X are aligned in the first row, so X wins. So we are checking, we are taking a marker to check whether the marker has 1 or not, respective marker, whether X or O. So let's define a function to check whether he has 1 or not. So let's take it as win check, and we check the board and marker. So if the board 7 equal to marker, or and board 8 equal to marker, and board 9 equal to marker, or so we're gonna print this. So yeah, now let's just check, and now we're gonna return to, so we're gonna return if the particular marker has 1, or else we are gonna return false. So we're gonna run this, and let's check. So let's check whether board O has 1 or not. So false. So here it's showing that board O has 1. So these are all the combination by through which you can win, like across row 1, across row 2, across row 3, diagonally in this position, diagonally in that position. So these are the respective uh, combination by which a marker X or O can win. So now we have to write a function which gives a random this thing random model, like 0 to 1, like random integer from 0 to 1, and it will decide the player based on that number, like flipping a coin. When you get heads or tails, you if you win the toss, if you get heads, you choose whatever you can. But here, yeah, in a similar way, we're gonna uh, give the user a chance, whether by giving a random integer between 0 and 1. If it gets 0 or 1, if he gets 0, he gets player 1, or if he gets 1, he gets player 2, something like that. So let's just import, and let's define a function. Let's choose first. Then, so if the flip turns out to be equal to 0, so yeah, so if the flip, yeah, so if the flip turns out to be 0, so then we're going to return saying that he's player 1, else he's player 2. We'll return saying that he's player 2. So yeah, and now we'll check the function choose first. Yeah. So we didn't actually define what was going to flip was going to be. So we are taking flip to be a random integer from 0 to 1. Yeah. So now let's try it out. So here you can see it randomly chooses it got 0, and here you get the output to be player 1. You have got player 1. So next we have to write a function. So returns a boolean value saying true or false based on, and to check whether there is space available in that position. So let's write it out. So before that, let's modify our board in such a way that there is a space available. So let's make it X. So O, then we'll make it X again. Yeah, here we are going to give a space, and we'll make it X again, and oh, so we are providing the space. So next, what we are going to do is we are defining a function space check. We're defining function space check, and based on board and the position, we're going to check whether there's space available in that particular position, and we are going to return the board with the position, which is, yeah. So next we are going to run space check, the function space check. As you can see, it's indexed at position 8. Here it's indexed at position 8, so we're going to check with 8, and here you can see that it returned true. So when we check with some other position, it's going to return false, so we'll keep it as 8. So now we write a function to check whether the board is full or not, and if it is full, we are going to return the boolean value true, or else false. So first let's start with the defining a function. So we're gonna check the board. So let's name it as full check board, and then so is full. So is full, it's gonna be true. So for I in board if I is equal to so is so if there's a space available, so is 4 will be false, and we're gonna return, oh sorry, yes 4. Yep. So now we'll check board and board. Yeah. Here it's showing false. So now we are gonna set in the range for that for the full board check, and so it is in the range from 1 to 9. So index 1 to 9. So for that we are going to specify the range from 1 to 9. So which is 1 to 10 in the sense this is n minus 1. So it is starting to n minus 1 in this case. So next we are gonna check whether there is space in the board. Then we're gonna return false, or we're gonna return true. So now we're gonna go check board, and we will check the board. So yeah. So next we are going to write a function to ask the user which position is going to choose next after this particular step, and also check whether there's spaces in this thing present in that particular position. So let's start with writing the function. So we're going to write the function like define next player's choice, and board. So the next we're going to initialize the position starting to be 0, and then we're going to iterate it through a while loop. So while not position in the index which is 1 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5 comma 6 comma 7 9. So this is going to be the index, and or not space check in the board position. So we are going to allow the user to enter his input. So we're going to say user and ask his input. So enter your next position. So next we're going to return the position. Then we're going to print next player's choice, and we're going to print saying board. Yeah. So the user will ask you to enter your next position. Suppose I enter 100. I can enter one more, so I'll enter 10. So I can enter one more, I'll enter 6. So I can enter 5, then 4, 3, 8. So it takes in a number and it checks whether this space check is there, and it will give me the next position, which is number 8. So next we are going to define a function with replay, so that whether the user wants to play the game again or not, and asking the user whether he wants to play it again or not. Then we're going to return input saying that do you want to play again? We're going to ask the user whether he wants to play it again, and the answer will be either yes or no. Then we're gonna use the dot lower method so that if he mentions a lowercase letter also, no issues with that. So starts with, and we're gonna mention y. Yeah. So if yes, so we're gonna use the replay option. So I'll just type in yes. Okay. Sorry. Okay, there's an error here. It's dot lower. So the now when I try, yeah, now it's showing true, so the user can play the game again. So this is just the algorithm or the basic things you need to know in order to create the game. In the next video I'll be explaining in detail how to create the game step by step. So I hope you guys understood all these methods in order to create the game. These are the essential methods in order you need to know in order to create the final game. Now we are going to write the entire code where all these steps are integrated in a single code. So let's start with the final arrangement of the so yeah. So first, let's assume that we are running a while loop throughout the game and considering while as true, taking board into 10, so the space check from 0 to 9. So this is same as instead of writing this you can also do this, the initial method, which is this. Yeah, this is both are the same, just that it's a much more simpler. Instead of writing so much you can just write a cell and into 10. So this is much easier compared to that. So next we are going to create markers for player 1 and player 2. And we're going to say that it is going to be the player input, whether it's going to choose player 1 or player 2. So the turn is going to be the function which we have already seen in the previous video, choose first. Yeah, and we're going to print saying turn plus will play first. So here it will automatically choose which player you are. It will automatically choose which player you are based on the choice and directly decide who will play first. So next we are going to it's saying that play game. So and we are asking the user saying that are you. So we're asking the user whether he's really ready to play the game, and we're going to give him option saying yes slash no, then user dot lower, so that, yeah, so this is for this thing. And if play game, so if the play game is continued to be true, game on is true, the game continues. Else game on is false, it discontinues there. So next, so we are iterating through while loop, which is for game on, so whether the game on should be true or false. So iterating through the while loop, and now we'll start with the player 1. We'll start with for player 1, then we'll say if turn chooses player 1. So if the turn chooses player 1, then second, yeah, chooses player 1, we have to display board. Then we have to choose the position where it's going to start, and that would be the player's choice. That's going to be the next player's choice. We're going to check space check throughout this thing, and select whether this thing is on. And then we are going to use the marker to position the to find the position of the player. And if win check, we are checking for whether the player 1 will win the game or not. So we are entering position and no, not position, then we get player 1 marker. Yeah, player 1 marker. Then we're going to display the board again. And we're going to print a message saying that player 1 has won the game and congratulations. Yeah, so this will be the message which has been displayed, and here the game on would be false. Next we're going to see for the else statement, you're going to check the entire board, and we're going to display the board again. And if this happens, say the game is draw, and enter a message saying that better luck next time. Yeah. And next we are gonna break out of the loop. So when it breaks out of the loop, it will go to the second player. Now we're going to write the code for the second player. So now let's look into for player 2. So it's just the same as player 2, player 1. Just will make some changes. So we'll just copy and paste it, and we'll just make some changes. We'll make it player 2, and yeah. So here it will go to player 1. Then if not, replay, then we'll break. So I'm going to start. I implemented the code, and now it's asking me to enter a marker. So I'll be entering X. So I'm player 2. So first let me enter 2 and X1, and it's player 2's chance, player 1's chance. So 3, and now I want X to win. So 4, and now 5 and 7. Here you can see that player 1 has won. I want to play again. Do you want to play again? Yes. Now I want to check what happens when the game is draw. So I'll take the marker to be O. So I'm player 2. Yes. So 1, then 2, then 3, then 5. So I want to block O from winning. So I'll be giving 8. So next is 4. So I want to block O from winning again. So X. Now I want to block X from winning. 9, and the last position 7. Here you can see the game is draw. It's showing better luck next time. So it's asking again, do you want to play again? So I'll say I don't want to play again, and no. So the now it's exited out of the loop and stop the game. So I hope you guys understood the following exercise and how to implement this, and I want you all to try this on your own so that it's very much interesting and fun.